Take a steady posture. Center yourself. Inhale. 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 Asato ma satkamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityorma amritangamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Let me gently open your eyes. Sada Shiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Continuing our discussion of Upadēśa Sāram of Ramana Maharshi. In the first 6 verses, Maharshi talks about first 1 to 5 verses, Maharshi talks about karma yoga, the sadhana of karma yoga. Then up till 9th verse, that is up till 9th verse, Maharshi is introducing upasanas, different type of upasanas. And in 10th and 11th verse, Ramana Maharshi introduces Ashtanga Yoga Sadhana. Ashtanga Yoga is a very popular terminology. You all might have heard about it in one or the other context. Patanjali, who is the author of Patanjali Yoga Sutras, has given this Ashtanga Yoga Sadhana. You see, the way of Advaita Vedanta, the marga of Patanjali Yoga Sutra or Patanjali are 2 different ones. But the beauty of Sanatana Dharma is, suppose there is something good in a particular system, all other systems adapt it. So Patanjali's Ashtanga Yoga is like mathematics. All other fields adapt that model for their own utility and their own growth. So Ashtanga Yoga Sadhana is a method to purify one's mind in order to gain control over one's mind. For Chitta, Shuddhi and Chitta Nischalata, so Advaita Vedanta also has adapted the Ashtanga Yoga Sadhana as a means to our real end. What is that? Which is mokṣa, freedom from sorrow, freedom from insecurity. So Maharshi mentions in this verse, yesterday we saw that, tenth verse we will chant Hritstale manaha Swasthata kriya Bhakti yoga bodhāscha nishchitam. So Maharshi says, this is what is prescribed, this is what is the correct path, what is that? And that is what is the concentration or the focus of bhakti, the marga of bhakti yoga. And yoga, by the term yoga, he means Ashtanga yoga. And bodha is jñāna-yoga. We saw that. So, the yoga that Maharshi is also introducing, that he talks about in the next couple of verses also, is the Ashtanga yoga sadhana. Yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, pratyahara, dhyāna, dharana, samadhi. 8 limbs of this Patanjali's method. So we are not going to discuss that now in detail, but basically not too different from many of the sadhana chatushtaya satsampatti, if you are familiar with that in terms of Vedanta, mastering one's own mind. Shama, Dhamma, mastery over one's indriyas, sense organs. Titiksha, ability to be in opposite conditions, cold and heat weather, pain, pleasure, that developing all these mental qualities. The Ashtanga yoga of Patanjali helps a person to gain certain qualities of mind which are very, very beneficial in order to pursue our path of freedom. So yoga gives that. Patanjali yoga, the Ashtanga yoga marga, gives that. The limitation of it is that it aims at just stunning the mind, nothing more than that. So, but we have some few nice things to borrow from that method also. So that is the marga of the yoga. Moving further, now Ramana Maharshi is giving us some more verses to do some sadhanas in the Ashtanga yoga marga as well. 11th verse. Vayurodhanaliyate manaha Jalapakshivat rodha sadhanam. Vayurodhanaliyate manaha Jalapakshivat rodha sadhanam. Now Maharshi is introducing one more sadhana of handling the mind. The mind, which is all the time going here and there, can be brought under control through this sadhana of pranayama. Vayurodhanat, by the control of breath. Liyate manaha, the mind, which is wandering all the time. From one thing after another, the mind keeps on wandering. Indian lifestyle, 4 p.m. chai. Okay, the mind goes to chai. And after having chai, you feel like the mind goes to namkeen. Because the chai is sweet, the mind goes to namkeen. So you chatpata, something, you take some namkeen. And then after that namkeen, the mind goes to what? Oh, again I have eaten salty, so let me have a piece of biscuit. Mind goes to a biscuit or something else. Now there is too much sensation, let me drink a glass of water to neutralize it. Mind keeps on going from one thing to another. That's the ordinary mind, an untrained mind. Asamskrita manaha. Mind which has not got purified through a sadhana. In fact, all our disciplines of Sanatana Dharma is to tame the mind. This monkey mind which is all the time jumping, the objective is to make that mind available for whatever is in front of us. It could be a duty, it could be a responsibility, it could be Vedanta Chintana. Whether it's for Vedanta Chintana or gaining some excellency, proficiency in your own regular life, you need to have a mastery over one's mind. Very important. You see, recently our Indian kid Gukesh, he became the champion. What was the title? World Chess Champion, some title. So I was reading an article where traditionally, what do you think, in order to have great mastery in the chess, you need somebody to coach you the game of chess. Not only that, he had a mind conditioning coach. Because you may know all the chess moves, you may know the game, but suppose the mind is not able to be focused during the game. You may be excellent in terms of your technique or whatever is the paradigm of the chess, the game of chess. But what if the mind is not available at that moment? So he had a mind conditioning coach, one who is training him to have the mind which has the ability to be focused, to get out of the stress, all of it. So conditioning of one's mind into focusing on whatever is in front of us, not only important in Vedanta, it's important in your worldly life also, in regular life also. Very crucial. So Maharshi is giving this sadhana, he is saying that by controlling the breath, vayu rodhanat liyate manaha liyate. The mind settles down. How? Through the control over one's breath, through mastering one's breath. That is the pranayama. Pranayama means regulating or mastering one's breath. That is the pranayama. And if you see, the mind and breath are very much connected. We'll see that further. In this verse, in the 11th verse, Maharshi says, how this pranayama, the sadhana of pranayama, how does this bring about control over one's mind? It's like putting a net on a bird. Jala pakshivat rodha sadhanam. There's a bird which is flying, and then you put a net onto that bird. We don't want to do that, it's just an example. So suppose you put a net on a particular bird, it cannot fly, it may try, after a while it just settles down because there is no way out. There's no way out. So this sadhana, pranayama sadhana, can be done in order to quieten one's mind. You see, whenever somebody is angry, usually people used to say, count 10. What happens when you count 10? By counting 10, nothing is going to happen. It's not about that the number counting is going to bring about a change in a person. No. The 10 counts gives a person who is angry to breathe. So that emotion settles down a bit. That emotion settles down a bit through focusing on one's breath. That's the trick of pranayama, or that is the sadhana of pranayama. Ramana Maharshi gives us further insights about this sadhana. Let us look into it. Chittavayavaha Chitkriya-yutaha Shakayordvayi Shakti Mulaka Chittavayavaha Chitkriya Yutaha Shakhayordvayi Shakti Mulaka. Maharshi is giving the sadhana how this works. Chitta means mind. Vayavaha means the prana, pancha prana, the airs, the vital airs. And this chit, the mind, has the principle of jnana, knowledge in it. Chitta is associated with knowledge, isn't it? So mind and its function. Now do not separate mind, intellect, all of it in this context. Take mind as a whole, which has different functions. This mind, what do we use the mind for? In order to know about things. So that is the quality associated with the mind. And vayavaha, prana, the pancha pranas, prana, apana, udana, samana, vyana, these pancha pranas having different functions in the body. What is the prana associated with? Prana is associated with activity. Prana is associated with activities in the body. Each and every prana has a particular function in the body. 5 aspects of the prana, you can take it like that. So Maharshi is telling the chitta, mind, is associated with the activity of knowledge, and prana with reference to all other activities in the body. It could be digestion, circulation, reproduction, all those activities, breathing, respiration, all of these activities are the functions of the prana. These two are like the 2 branches of a same tree. Same tree. The trunk of the tree is the Prakriti or Maya. We will discuss that in further classes. But here our focus is not on the trunk. Our focus is on these 2 branches coming from the same trunk. What are these 2 branches? Chitta, the mind, and prana, the breath. Since they are coming from the same trunk, you can control the mind by controlling the prana, because they are 2 branches from the same trunk. You regulate the prana, the mind gets regulated. In fact, you observe this is very experiential, not some conceptual thing. Just put your finger near the nostrils. Feel the breath. The breath is not warm or in any high temperature, just it's regular. It doesn't feel any different. Now do this exercise when there is an anger outburst. The breath will be warm. The breath will be warm. And also observe your breathing pattern. When you are relaxed, observe the breathing pattern. You're breathing naturally. There is a natural rhythm to it. Now observe the breathing pattern when mind is agitated. You'll have short breath cycles. And now now observe the breath when you are sad or crying. You see there will be a different pattern to the breath. Meaning your emotions, the mind, is directly connected to the prana, the breath. By regulating one, you can regulate the other one. So one standard satsang question: how do I handle my anger? How do you handle? Do not do anything at that moment. Just focus on your breath. Just focus on your breath. And also another insight about anger. Okay, now I'll tell you something. Get angry. Get angry. Get angry. Get angry, I'm telling you. It's okay. Get angry. No. Can you get angry? You don't get angry by will. Anger happens. Anger happens. So anger happening is not really in your control until you master your mind, until you have full mastery over your mind. Anger happening is not in your control. Then what is in your control? Giving an expression to that anger. Giving that expression to that anger. Yes, you get angry, then you want to pick up something and throw it. That is in your hands. You want to throw some words when you are angry. That is in your control. You want to scream. That is in your control. That is in your control. So in an episode of anger has occurred. You cannot do anything about it. But what you can do is to take a step back. Do not give expression to that anger. Band. No. Do not put out words. Do not put out words. So that's what you have control over. So Maharshi is indicating that one can control, one can regulate one's emotions, one's state of mind through focusing, mastering over the breath. So pranayama is a very important practice that everyone shall pay attention to on a day-to-day basis. Take some time, few minutes at least, to put your mind on focused breathing, regulated breathing, conscious breathing. Everyone is breathing all the time. Everyone is breathing all the time, but pranayama is focused breathing, regulated breathing. Puraka, kumbhaka, rechaka. You breathe in, hold for 3 counts or 5 counts, then you exhale. You exhale. Gives a lot of ability for the mind to focus, and mind calms down over a period of time. Sattva increases in the mind. Sattvic guna increases in the mind. We need sattva guna for any activity which requires your focus, which requires your concentration. Rajoguna is required for any activity where you have to be extroverted, where you have to be active, where you have to be very bubbly, etc. Rajas is required. Tamas is also important in one's life. Tamas is important when not in the classroom. Tamas is important to go to bed, to sleep. For you to sleep, what is required is tamas. What is required is tamas. So today people are telling, right, by 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, switch off all your gadgets. Slow down. All of it. That was Indian lifestyle back then. So now it's conceptualized and marketed as when they're training workshops also how to slow down. Stay with your grandma, you will slow down. So you have to develop ability to slow down and focus on your breath. In fact, modern life is so distorted, we do not have time to pay attention for anything which is basic, which is very natural to human life. We have time for anything that is artificial. No time for that which is very basics, which are basics of human life. What is that? Breath. No time. Swamiji, you say pranayama, where is the time? You sit in the ashram and all of that and tell me to breathe. See, look how weird it sounds. You are saying that I don't have time to sit and concentrate on my own breath. Who are you doing a favor to? No one, to yourself, when you sit and breathe. Food, no time. So it's like that. It's like that. Prayer, no time for all that. So back then I remember in Bangalore when this whole boom of selling the flats, apartments started, the advertisements used to read 2-bedroom, hall, kitchen plus puja room. Okay? After a few years, after 5 or 10 years, puja room was eliminated. Because nobody has time to pray, isn't it so? So it is only 2-bedroom, hall, kitchen. Okay. Now, I think in another few years, it will be 2-bedroom hall. That's all. Kitchen also will be eliminated because everyone only takes the Uber Eats, Zomato, Swiggy, other apps, just as whatever is available, DoorDash, etc. So it's like saying I don't have time for basics in life at all. Then maybe bedroom also will be eliminated. Why? Maybe office will provide sleeping capsules and then you just need the home for weekend or so. I don't know what weird lifestyle humans will conceive in next 15 years or so. So Maharshi is bringing our focus to have a control over one's mind by controlling the prana. So pranayama becomes a very important exercise in our day-to-day life to have a mastery over one's mind. You may have various emotional problems that you may be facing. Try the sadhana of pranayama. You will see the mind settling over a period of time. So the mind, the chitta, is from the sattva guna of the Maya or the Prakriti, the power of Brahman, which is creating the whole Jagat, has three gunas. Sattva guna, Rajo guna and Tamo guna. The Sattva guna is giving rise to mind. And the Rajo guna is giving rise to the prana, which is very active. Rajas is associated with activity. Moving further. We will put a little more discussion on this verse. May you repeat this verse to contextualize. Chittavayavaha Chitkriya-yutaha Shakhayor-dvayi Shakti-mulaka. Shakhayor-dvayi Shakti-mulaka. The Shakti, Prakriti or Maya, consisting of three gunas. The Sattva guna makes the mind. The usual nature of the mind is to be calm, at peace. But then mind, which is constantly associated with various objects in the world, gets attached, develops raga-dvesha, likes and dislikes, and thus that mind is highly agitated. Why? Because it's always dancing to the tunes of raga-dvesha. All the time it's dancing to those tunes of raga-dvesha. So we don't want such a mind which is dancing all the time. We want a mind which is calm and centered. You bring about that through the sadhana of pranayama. That is what Maharshi is telling. Moving further. Laya vinashane Ubhayarodhane Layagatam punar bhavatino mritam. Laya vinashane Ubhayarodhane Layagatam punar bhavatino mritam. So Maharshi is giving us this sadhana of manolaya. What is that manolaya? Laya means dissolving the mind, subduing the mind. So laya can refer to temporarily making the mind calm. How do you bring about it? Pranayama is a great technique. Chanting is a great technique. Singing, the Nama Sankirtanam, is also a beautiful technique of bringing about the dissolution of the mind temporarily. So suppose you are chanting with a very deep focus. 20th minute, you're chanting very deeply. Do you have your raga, dvesha, schedules, all the problems, all of it do you have? Think about one of those experiences that you might have had. Is it all there? No. You are watching Himalayas or a beautiful mountain. What is happening there? Your entire travel itinerary, all of it, is it in your mind? No. Likes and dislikes? No. Nothing seems to be there for some moments. Just there. You're just there. So, manolaya can be temporarily brought up through the sadhana of pranayama. But the modern people or some of the youngsters also bring about manolaya, the dissolution of the mind temporarily. How? Alcohol, some drug, an induced state. An induced state. That's why they go for it. Why? Because unfortunately there is no wisdom to handle life. There's no wisdom to handle the problems of life. But nobody can handle a mind which is so agitated. So now they take help of a external substance to calm the mind down temporarily. It cannot be an ongoing process. So, there are two types of handling this mind. One is temporarily dissolving this mind. That is through the Ashtanga Yoga sadhana, that is through pranayama, that can be through prayers, that can be any sadhana that is beneficial to you, which doesn't hurt you. You see, you do japa, does it hurt you? No. It brings about shanti in the mind. The same way, then, why can't I do the same dissolution of the mind or handling of the mind through the drugs? They hurt you. On a long term, they hurt you. Even on a short term, they cannot help you handle your day properly. So you go for the means which are beautiful, which do not hurt you, even though how much ever you go about using those means, they don't hurt you. That's why the need of our traditional spiritual practices like yoga, pranayama, all of it. And permanent solution to handling of the mind, Maharshi uses a special term. Usually in the Upanishads, Bhagavad Gita, you don't find that easily. The term Ramana Maharshi uses is rodhana, meaning destruction. Destruction, do not take something as destroying one's mind. Then how can you operate in the world? That's not the solution. Suppose you're talking and you're trying to do something, the teeth bites the tongue. Because the teeth bites the tongue, is the solution to remove the tongue, the teeth itself? That seems stupid. Similarly, okay, problem is due to the mind, let me just eliminate the mind. So, destruction of the mind, rodha sadhana, is not about literally destroying the mind. We will contextualize it, we will explain it, but to think of a permanent solution. Now, Let us think of the temporary solution, even that which is pranayama or meditation or samadhi. Usually everybody is very fascinated with the terminology of samadhi. Everybody wants to go into a state of samadhi. Pujya Swami used to tell one joke about samadhi. A person, a guru, a yogi, wanted a cup of coffee. So he calls his shishya and says, "Hey shishya, I want a cup of filter coffee." South Indian. And the shishya goes to make a cup of coffee. By then, this yogi has gone off into samadhi. The shishya goes inside for 5 minutes or whatever, 10 minutes. He's preparing the South Indian filter coffee because it takes time. You have to add water into the filter and all of it. So he comes after 10-15 minutes with a nice cup of coffee, and the Guru Maharaj has gone off into samadhi. So the shishya, what he does is, nice coffee is in hand. The shishya decides, let me think, let me take it. Let me drink it, let me have it. Now this Guru Maharaj, the yogi who was in samadhi, and gets up now. And he sees, coffee is also not there. "Hey shishya, where is the coffee?" he asks. The story ends there. What can we learn from this story? No doubt this yogi had the capacity to go into samadhi at his will. He went into samadhi. Fine. But what was the last thought before going into samadhi? Coffee. What was the first thought after coming back from samadhi? Coffee. So the mind has not changed. The world has not changed. What has changed is only he has the ability to go into samadhi. The same mind with all the raga dveshas, and in fact, the Yogi Maharaj gets angry also that the shishya has consumed the coffee. No point. Simply having an ability to go into laya, meaning go into samadhi, and you come out as the same old fool. What is the whole point? What is the whole point? So inner transformation through wisdom, handling of raga dvesha, all of it is very important. The knowledge, the wisdom is very important. Otherwise you have many abilities, you're great in your work, etc. You have now got a new spiritual ability. What is that? Going into samadhi temporarily, and after that you come back, you're the same person. So people go into pilgrimage in India all the time, one thing after another, as if it's like a bucket list, one after the other. They come back home as the same old fools. I keep saying, if a donkey goes on a pilgrimage, it doesn't come back as a horse. So internally you have to change. Internally you have to change. So Maharshi is telling, a mind which is just dissolved through the technique of samadhi or through pranayama or through any other spiritual technique, after a while, that dissolved mind again comes back. Isn't it so? That, hold on to that coffee samadhi example. You come out and the same world, same lack of wisdom, you do not know how to handle the external world. So what you need is handling of the mind more fundamentally. So Amrita Bindu Upanishad, a beautiful Upanishad, has a verse. Mana eva manushyanam karanam bandha mokshayoho. Bandhaya vishaya saktam muktei nirvishayam smritam. A very simple, beautiful mantra. I'll explain to you. The Upanishad says, Mana eva manushyanam karanam bandha mokshayoho. Mind alone is the cause for one's bondage, and that mind alone can be a cause for one's freedom. What is the bandhana? Vishayasaktaha. Mind which is so enchanted all the time by objects of the world, situations of the world. All the time it is holding on to something. All the time it is holding on to something, and then that mind, the same mind, desires freedom too. It's like, hey, water bottle, you're holding me. Free me from your clutches. Isn't it foolish to do this? Because you are the one who is holding on to the water bottle. All our bondage is due to a ill-conceived notion about the world, about life. And we are holding on to that conception. Life has to be like this. This is all that I need. This is all that I want. Everyone around me has to be this. We have conceived this, and we are very tightly holding on to that picture, that conception. That is what gives you the feeling of samsara. That is what makes you a samsari. Then what is the freedom? Let go of that conception. Let go of this conception. That is vairagya. You see, did you observe? Did I say, give up the objects, give up the house, give up the people? No, what did I say? Give up that ill-conceived conception. So that's why vairagya is very important in our whole spiritual pursuit. Why? Because you need to be relatively free also in order to discover absolute freedom. So give up that wrong, ill-conceived notion about life. Everything has to be in this way. You got to separate yourself from that. Only then there is permanent solution. Otherwise there is only temporary laya. Temporary handling of that mind, agitated mind. Somebody handles through music. Somebody handles through prayer. Somebody handles through Instagram scrolling. Somebody handles it through a long drive. You can handle it through a 10-day vacation. Different people have different approaches, but there's no permanent solution to it. Permanent solution is only knowledge. Permanent solution is to remove the virus of raga and dvesha which has captured the mind. Once you remove that raga and dvesha through knowledge, that mind gets absorbed in its source. That mind becomes simple, an instrument which helps you gain knowledge of the world around you. Mind will start functioning as an instrument which is under your control. Till then, that mind will be doing the Tandava Nritya, dancing all the time, pulling, pushing you, making you fall here and there all the time. Sometimes when I used to go for a morning walk in Delhi, many people used to get their dogs for walking. Even that I used to observe in Cambridge when I was there. So many people used to bring their dogs for walking. Suppose the dog is well built. The owner is not walking the dog is walking the owner. It happens like that. So mind is like that dog. You got to walk it. The dog should not have the ability and power to make you walk wherever it wants to go. It's not a very pleasant sight. That's how it has to be. So human being has this unique ability to have control over one's own mind, one's own senses, that is probably not there in a lot of animals. So humans have this unique ability. We must use it, we must develop it to the fullest extent. To the fullest extent. So the raga dveshas of the mind, the ignorance, has to be handled through gaining of wisdom. That's what all of you are doing, exposing yourself to the words of the Shastra. At every step, you are wiser, and a part of ignorance is lost. That's what happens. So Maharshi is telling that Laya vinashane ubhayarodhane layagatam punaha bhavati nomritam. So mind, which is temporarily dissolved, comes back again to do all the nritya, to all the dance, but mind, which is dissolved, meaning the reality of mind is known. We'll discuss more about it. Through knowledge, that all the unnecessary things in the mind is burnt in the light of wisdom, such a mind again doesn't rise up to hurt you. So that is what Maharshi is telling. Two types of control. What you need is the permanent solution, permanent handling, permanent control. That is only through jñānam. By understanding the nature of the mind. Why? Why is mind behaving the way it is behaving? It is not about just control. Is it about suppressing one's wants, desires, mind? It is not even that. You think more fundamentally. What is giving the mind its power to spring up? Now then you know, at a deeper level, there is this ragadvesha sitting. And why they have become so powerful? Why? Because fundamentally, I think I am not enough, I am limited, and I need to always fulfill my desires one after another to feel complete. Now you focus on handling this error. When you handle this error, so this involves a lot of deep inquiry. Yesterday we touched upon it. What is my real nature? Mind, which is seen, it is not the seer, it is drishya. I am the drik. How is an object? I am the seer. Mind itself is an object of my seeing, drishyam. How is this drishya having so much power over me? So you, in detail, you have this inquiry which help you free the mind. So final freedom is when the mind is totally resolved, not temporarily resolved. We will discuss some more aspects of this verse, technical details of it in the next class. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, Sarve Santu Niramayah, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschit Dukkha Bhag Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.